So about 2 years ago, I bought this 2014 Audi RS7, but it's had one really serious issue, or maybe I should say about 25 issues. So how this went down is I bought ARM's catless downpipes for my car, but I didn't buy an ECU tune yet, so it's only natural that I had to check engine light. One day soon after, I ended up making a pretty fatal mistake and I ended up overfilling the oil by a good amount. The car started to blow white smoke out of the back and out of the engine bay, so I had to shut it off and get it towed. I drained out all that excess oil and then the car seemed to drive completely normally, or at least the same as it was before the overfill. That was until I actually got my stage 2 ECU tune where the check engine light should have been coated out, but instead I still had the check engine light. So then I properly looked into it, and it turns out over the span of those few months, I had about 25 stored codes, and the logs were absolutely abysmal. Now the first thing that came to mind was my overfill incident. I'm thinking that the PCV obviously shot out all that oil into the intake system and ended up clogging up all the intake valves, which must have been causing the air-fuel ratio to be messed up. So I've tried from multiple mechanics to get it torn down, but it turns out on my vehicle, you can't just carbon clean it. You have to take out the entire engine. So I had to get it done anyways. But for everything up until that point, it totaled to about $10,000. Now when I drove off from getting that done, I realized my codes all came right back. So at this point, I'm completely done. I parked up the car and forgot about it for a few months. Then one day recently, I found myself on the page for a Krapovich's downpipe for the RS7. And I saw in bold that you need oxygen sensor harness extenders. So on Audi's 4.0T engine, the OEM downpipes cross over each other. So that means that the right side's oxygen sensor is actually for the left downpipe, and so on and so forth. Now I went back to ARM's installation instructions for these downpipes, and I read here, as you can see, they only measure cat efficiency, nothing else, so you don't need to swap them. So I just emailed them to ask, and I got probably the worst response I've ever gotten in an email. So I did some research, and it turns out they actually do plausibility checks, meaning the ECU will test to see if the secondary and primary have the same reading to make sure the primary is working. The rear sensor is actually detecting the opposite side, making the ECU freak out. I bought the $20 USP harness extenders, swapped them over, and I have not had a single code since. All of my trims are completely normal, my power is restored, and the car is driving excellently.